All right, we are live on UNLV Biomechanics Facebook page and we're recording. I'm Dr. John Mercer doing this sports science conversation, and I love connecting with our alumni who are working in the sport industry. And we have a special guest today, Kelsey Klug. Hi, Kelsey, how are you?
Hi, Dr. Mercer. I'm great. How are you?
No, I'm doing good. And this is so exciting to have you on here because I was on your committee as a committee member for your culminating experience project for your graduate program. And all of a sudden someone says, "Oh yeah, and she works for the Yankees." And I'm like, "The Yankees? What does she do for?"
Yeah.
I'm a lifelong Yankee fan. So being in upstate New York, homegrown type of person. I've always sort of followed the Yankees and enjoy that. And I was just so impressed that you were doing something with the Yankees, let alone doing something even in with a sport team in biomechanics. So that's so cool.
Thank you. Yes, it's not the route that I thought I would be on,
Yeah.
and yet here we are, and I love it, and it's been really
Here we
great.
are. I love it. I love it. Well, let's start with that. Why don't you talk a little bit about what your title is? I believe you said it's Applied Biomechanist,
Yeah,
and tell a little bit about what your day-to-day routine looks like as an applied biomechanics.
sure. So there are really two major times for us, season in season and off season. Right now, we're technically in the off season. So at this moment, I spend a lot of time in front of my computer, processing data, helping like dev ops teams with whatever projects they've got going on, to optimizing things for the upcoming season, working on little research projects, things like that. So right now it's kind of um, very computer screen intensive, but it's more laid back than during the season. Spring training starts in just a not too much longer, like about another month, but players are already trickling in now. So we'll ramp up. Spring training will be really busy. We'll be in the lab about 12 hours a day. That'll be anywhere from say 6 to 12 players a day that will be mocapping.
Hmm.
And we'll do that all the way through until after the season starts, which is April 1st-ish. We still have some stragglers, so it'll probably take us till about the middle of May to finish up just in the in-lab motion capture portion. All that data needs to be processed, so hopefully we're getting some of that done. Then we're in the middle of the season. Um, that time is a little bit more player intensive, so one-on-one player stuff, lots more coach interactive things like that. Getting to watch baseball games, help players when they get a little bit stuffed up, and then we go into postseason. Same thing as spring training, lots of mocaps, data collections, and then we do it all over again.
Oh, I love it. That sounds exciting, and it sounds super busy at the same time.
It is, yeah. So right now we're at about 5 days a week. During spring training, we go 7 days a week.
Hmm.
And then after that, during the season, 6 days a week. So
Okay.
it's a few months of lots
Yeah.
of work. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. But you're doing biomechanics work with professional athletes. So maybe you mentioned motion capture. What type of instruments do you end up using, in a regular routine? And mostly I'm asking because I want students to hear the types of things that they may want to learn in order to qualify for this type of job.
Sure. So, not to brag, but we have arguably the most advanced lab in baseball.
It's the
We have an
Yankees, of
entire,
course.
yeah, right. We have an entire, like, um, excuse me, like pitching mound, and like hitting box in the lab and can do live at bats. So like a pitcher can actually throw to an actual hitter in our lab, and we can collect censored motion capture data the entire time. So we
Mhm.
have a whole like markered motion capture system. We do some markerless motion capture as well. We've got force plates in both of those regions. We've got lots of different things. We do GPS tracking, force plates everywhere. Any place you could think of putting a force plate, there is a
Uh,
force plate. Um, yeah, lots of ball tracking, lots of stuff.
That is great. Boy, that's a little bit of everything, and it's
Definitely.
neat that our lab actually has a lot of that, and students can learn how to operate that. And I got to imagine that helps a little bit as they
100%.
start looking for jobs. All right, so maybe let's go backwards in time a little bit and talk a little bit about your academic career that ultimately led to this position. undergraduate, graduate type of work?
Sure. So I got my undergrad as well at UNLV, and it was during that in the kinesiology program. And it was during that at that time that I realized I really loved biomechanics. I kind of figured I would be in sports, but I was thinking more strength and conditioning. But intro to biomechanics was the class for me that like just that spark hit, and it was like, oh, I love this. This is where I want to be. I did my internship in the lab with Dr. Silvernail and my other lab mates, and it was just like, yep, this is it. So then went on to get a master's degree kinesiology and focused on biomechanics, and that's where my biomechanics dream kind of started there.
Hmm. Oh, I love it. So when you did your undergraduate, I love that you said, you took a course and you just loved it. And a lot of students often have that challenge of trying to find that right area. And it's sometimes hard to describe, but how did you know that this was it? What was it that was sort of catching your eye about going down the biomechanics path?
That's a great question. I really thought that it was scary
Oh,
at first,
yeah.
um, which was so intriguing for me,
Uh,
and that made it really fun wanting to learn more about it. And be right, because you can either be scared and think, nope, this isn't for me, I can't do this, or like it just really inspired me to want to learn more about why the body moves the way it does,
mm-hmm.
which if I wasn't in my current role would have been great even for strength and conditioning,
Mm-hmm.
just understanding like all the things to make people better and stronger and perform better. And yeah, I would say it scared me at first. And Dr. Silvernail, I've told her before that she's very intimidating. She just was this like intimidating figure for me. And I looked up to her so much immediately that it was like, yeah, this is it.
Well, that's great. And it's great to have a mentor like that inspires you and trains you at the same time. And
Yeah,
so that's really neat. Well, that's really, I mean, it's neat. Sometimes it's hard to say this is why it is the right thing, but you just know it. You
you
start
just know.
seeking information out that you wouldn't normally just seek out, and that's what it sounds like you were doing.
Yeah,
So then your grad program, tell us a little bit about that training.
sure. So it was, I am a COVID, I guess you could say a COVID kid. So things weren't maybe the typical way of going about things. I think that my first year I was very lucky in that my lab mates were getting their PhDs, and they gave me a lot of opportunities to be in the lab. So having that and knowing that like they were going to push me to learn, and they expected excellence along the way. They expected me to do a good job in helping them. That taught me so much, and that definitely set me up for this position now.
Mm,
Um,
mhm,
Other than that, in terms of having to go mostly online, that also forced me to say take computational biomechanics, which wasn't necessarily in my pipeline, but I still needed that engagement in other ways. So just taking like the extra courses that were a little more challenging and giving me something when we were all online and not enjoying life very much.
Oh, I love it. I love you're really speaking to this neat approach of academics looking for those challenges, and that's really neat to hear.
Thanks.
So, all right. So now you're sort of answering this question already, but I'm curious. Of course, you like biomechanics classes, so that was easy, right? But
Yeah.
we always have students take a wide variety of courses. When you look back now in the position that you're in, what course maybe comes to mind that you weren't expecting to get maybe anything out of, but yet you look back and you say, "Oh, that was really, I'm glad I took that outside my area."
Hmm. I did take the intro to MATLAB through the engineering program.
Oh,
And I would say that course has been terribly impactful
mm,
for my current role. So much of my day to day now involves coding and involves like large data sets, and having to be able to disperse information to other people. Like
mhm,
when you're in grad school, you're the one dealing with the information and you're the one utilizing it, using it.
mhm.
But now a whole bunch of other people need to know what I'm working on. So coding was huge
Oh,
for
I
me.
love I love to hear that. That's awesome. And it's neat because that's also a way of thinking in terms of processing data, and it's so important to collect data with the mindset that, well, now someone's got to process it too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so how about outside academics? What do you think that you did that was helpful to ultimately see your CV, your resume rise to the top to be able to get this position?
Outside of academia, um, I do think a large part of it was the lab.
Hmm.
Other than that, in terms of, I was a not usual student. I was older than average. I went back to school. So I had like other life experiences. I'd been a personal trainer before. Like I had a pretty concise, pretty clear view of what I needed my path to be to get there. We weren't messing around. Like had that time to do that. And then it was just time to get to the point of it, you know? So I think those things helped
Hmm.
quite a bit. Um, in terms of maybe more the interview process, for my own self, baseball was not anything I thought that I would be in. At UNLV, I did gait mechanics, lower body stuff. And during my interview, I made it very clear, like, hey, I love being in the lab. I love working with people and athletes. That's where it's at for me, but I don't really know anything about the shoulder,
Yep.
but I'm willing to learn it. And I think being humble really, I think I would say that that was probably the thing that pushed me over the edge and got me in the door.
Mm-hmm.
Was just saying, I don't know it all, but I'm ready to learn it.
Well, I love it because we're always still learning, and as we get more and more technology, we've got to learn that technology and what information it gives us, and then how to generate knowledge out of that. So that's a really neat thing that you're talking about. So let's go in that direction with advice that you would give to undergraduates, because I love this idea of having life experiences and doing a wide variety of things. But what if you were sitting down with a undergrad or a graduate student who's interested in working in the sport industry, maybe even working in with a professional team? What advice would you give them at this stage?
At this moment, I would say take some coding courses
Mhm.
or certificates or
Oh,
anything it takes to learn more about that. Get the extra certificates you might need. Like currently, I don't need a strength and conditioning certificate like a
yeah.
CSCS, but it is something that most teams are looking for.
Mm.
Utilize any other skills you have. If you speak another language, ah, that's the best. If you speak Spanish and want to be in baseball, perfect.
Ah, interesting.
Just really utilizing the other skills that you can bring to the table. And then remembering that, especially here, our coaches are so knowledgeable
Mhm.
and they're willing to teach you and just absorbing everything you can all the time.
Oh, I love it. I love the second language advice because you're right. Baseball is an international sport,
Yeah.
and there's all different nationalities that are participating on professional teams. So that certainly is really great advice. And coding is like another language too. I always
Yeah,
say so.
definitely.
I love it. Okay, so you mentioned watching baseball. I'm curious now that you work in baseball, are you able? Well, let's even go backward. Was it always baseball that you were interested in? What was where is the interest in baseball in your life?
Never, not at all. I've the pitching coaches have asked me before, like, oh, Kelsey, did you play softball? Or like, oh, who's your favorite team? And I would say, listen, if we were gonna rank all the sports, it's like golf is here, baseball, and then it's every other sport for me. Like, not a fan of baseball whatsoever. I have developed a love and deep appreciation for
Yeah,
the game now.
yeah.
It's fun to watch games, but only because now like I've gotten a chance to build relationships with the coaches and players, and it almost is like a fun way to look at work when you go to games and it's like, ah, look at that. What,
Mhm.
you recognize the quirky things that they do and how that applies to my day-to-day life,
Mm.
which I think that's just part of us being passionate about
Yeah, yeah,
biomechanics as well. It's just easy to think
yeah.
of it like that.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That's great. Yeah, and the passion for biomechanics and the passion for learning and taking on challenges is certainly something that you really aspire, or you epitomize those characteristics. All right, I'm just curious, where did you see the job posting that even led you to even apply?
Okay, so like I said, we were in the middle of COVID. One of my lab mates had seen it on the posting on Biomech L.
Mm.
And she talked to our advisor and also mentioned it, and they both were like, "Kelsey, you should apply for this." And I was like, "Well, I don't know, kind of, I'm not gonna get it." That's was my thing. I'm not gonna get it. I'm not gonna be qualified enough. It's not in my area. Like, I'm not gonna get it. It's in Tampa, Florida, across the country. Like, I'm not gonna get it. And then both of them were just like, "But Kelsey, you should just apply and see what happens." Um, and that's really like it just took off from there.
That's awesome. And so for those listening, BiomechL is basically a discussion group for people interested in biomechanics. And that's great that, again, that's something that you sought out. It's not required to be, it's not part of a course, and yet it was just information that you were seeking. And so that's neat to just see that blossom into a job application. And I think that's neat that I appreciate you, saying that, well, I'm not going to be qualified for the job, but really the experiences you had working in the lab, doing a wide variety of projects that really gave you a good skill set.
It
And I
really
think,
did.
yeah, I think that's really, really neat. All right, now a little bit off topic of biomechanics. What do you like to do maybe it's not, but what do you like to do outside of work?
I would say my most fun thing to do is go to the beach.
Yeah,
'Cause we're in Florida.
yeah.
The weather's always beautiful. Even on the not beautiful days, it's still the beach. So we
That's
do
the
a
Gulf
lot.
side. Aren't there sharks in the Gulf?
They're nice. They're friendly sharks.
You got alligators down there and you got sharks. Oh my
We do.
goodness.
And the snakes. Can't
Oh
forget the
no.
snakes too.
Well, and flying insects too.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the thing
yeah,
about the Southwest, and I'm sure that's what you may appreciate, that not having the flying insects. Of course, if there is an insect, it's usually angry and venomous. But
so true. Yeah.
oh, I love it, Kelsey. This is so great to talk with you. Thank you for taking the time to talk and share your experience, your academic experience, and ultimately what you do as applied biomechanist for the New York Yankees.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Have a great rest of the day.
You too.